Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 3 Under Par podcast. This is a golf podcast where
Little White Ball is life.
I'm your host, ScottyTee, and I'm joined by my co-host, T-Bone. What's going on, T-Bone? How you doing, my man?
Yo, what's up? Doing good. Happy Monday.
Loving the hat.
Gotta rep my squad. Fireballs Golf Club, baby.
I mean, you look great. You look great. Don't let the haters get you down. You're the fashion guy on the podcast, so it checks out.
Appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, I just want to say a big shout out to Fireballs. Been a big fan since day one. So happy they got the dub yesterday or Saturday, whenever the Live Golf Tournament is. Shows you how good of a fan I am.
Yeah. Hey, cut the check, right?
Yeah.
Check. We're watching ish, maybe. I don't know. The Nielsen ratings came out again for Live Golf, and not a great showing once again. But hey, nobody really cares because PJ Tour is back this week down in the Honda Classic. Live happened this week. Did Charles Howell end up winning, by the way, individually?
Danny Lee
won. Okay. Man, Danny Lee, he was remember when him and Ricky Fowler got in a little Twitter spat a few years back?
No, I don't. But I think you said Honda Classic and the Charles Howell win, which I think exactly happened like 3 weeks ago.
Is it not that? Oh my goodness, you're right. Valspar, my apologies. Man, I guess I'm just 2 or 3 weeks delayed here. My bad.
Right on it though. If we were 3 weeks ago, but yeah, Valspar and the Live whatever in Tucson with Danny Lee taking in a casual $4 million for the week, and then Fireballs Golf Club getting it done in the team event or whatever it is. But yeah, it was not the best golf week, but Texas swing, getting ready, gonna have to get our last taste of the match play coming up this week. Then we go down to San Antonio, and then we're there, Augusta National. So I think we needed the off week, and ready for the weeks ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we jump off of it, Taylor Moore comes away with the win at the Valspar this week. So a good win here. So there were some fairly big names up on that leaderboard. You know, Jordan Spieth was back in the mix. Tommy Fleetwood, that was a big topic of conversation. Does he get his first win in the United States? Unfortunately, he comes up just a little bit short, 2 shots behind, ended up with the T3 finish. Some other pretty good names there. You know, Webb Simpson, Wyndham Clark, Sam Burns. So I mentioned Spieth, Cody Gribble. He's one of those UT guys as well, which we covered on last week's podcast top programs here. So Justin Thomas as well. So ended up being a pretty good leaderboard, and Taylor Moore walks away with the win. So again, I think solid week for the PGA Tour to wrap up the Florida swing. As you mentioned, we're jumping into the Texas swing here, which T-Bone, before we dive into this, there's something we need to address. And it was a failure on our part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Last week, we did a top 5 college golf programs on history. And I heard from multiple people. I know you heard from multiple people. We did not include U of H in this top 5. And the University of Houston probably should have been in that top 5. So I want to give an apology to everybody out there listening. Thank you for keeping us accountable. T-Bone, what was the reaction you got?
Yeah, let's just say I got a novel text from my father who was very disappointed, giving me the breakdown of national champions and alumni that we completely missed out on. So I think the one thing in our defense is it's been a while since they've been good. At least I think, at least compared to previous decades or eras. But yeah, they were a dynasty for many different decades and have a lot more alumni than I thought. So I just
they have 16 national titles. That's so many. That's like UCLA basketball, right? Though that's like kind of they were the golf there and the UCLA of golf for a little bit. They won their first national championship in 1956. They won that 5 in a row. They won something ridiculous. Like, I can't do the math real quick off the top of my head, but 14 or 13 out of 17 years or something. They dominated from 56 all the way till the mid late 80s. The last one was in 1985. So to that point, the recency bias, I think, got to us a little bit. But
Yeah.
they're definitely a program that should have been in there. That was a big miss on our part.
Yeah. And it feels bad too that we're from Houston and I just threw in like a Florida State for the hell of it and I didn't know anything about them. That's a tough one to take. So hey, we'll learn from it and we'll get better.
That's right.
We
Again,
got another
appreciate you,
top
the
five coming this
listenership.
week. Yeah, time to rebound.
Yeah, it was
But
funny. I got a text from Preston, and he was like, "I think HBU had a better golf team than Florida State did there for a little bit." So, shout out to you, Preston and Trey, and all the other guys who played at HBU, formerly HBU, now Houston Christian University. So that I just wanted to mention that before we move on. I would be remiss if I didn't bring that up.
good catch there. Yeah, we needed to get ahead of that before we went through another top five. So but
Yes.
and think talking about U of H, I think uh in three under par fashion, I don't think we watched any golf this weekend. It's been a basketball weekend with March Madness. Ran into Scott yesterday, both in our Baylor gear, to watch a pretty disappointing round of 32 exit for the Baylor Bears. But yeah, I think the Valspar, like we said, was kind of an off week. I think just the few things there is that we're starting to see Spieth more and more. He had, I think, the weird, and again, I watched like the last six holes, if I'm being honest, but it was the weirdest and most Spieth like finish. And I'm not gonna lie, I heard this on another podcast, and I'll definitely give them credit, but he did everything you weren't expecting to finish that tournament. On 16, he blasted in the water, has to drop from like 300 yards out. Don't think he's going to make bogey, makes bogey. 17, he hits it. It's a par three. No one's birdieing it all day. I think one other birdie the whole day at 220 yards. Hits it to 10 feet, not expecting that. Misses the birdie putt to tie, not expecting that. It's not all there, but I think it's getting me excited for Augusta. That's all I got to say. And again, the guy who was leading for a lot of the day yesterday was Adam Schenk, which is one of the worst golf names you could ever have. But he had a chance to win it up against a tree on 18, had to hit out lefty, almost makes par, lips out. And then I think everyone else wanted to see Fleetwood win for the first time in the US on the PGA Tour. So for me, it was kind of a letdown to see this Taylor Moore kind of come out of nowhere. Again, another guy, classic. We run a golf podcast. So I've never heard of the guy, but kind of a weird week, but Spieth's trending in the right direction, and it was an entertaining finish. So I'll take it, and I watched it over the Live Tucson tournament. So that's my
I
two
mean,
cents this week.
no, I think that's great. Man, Jordan Spieth, he's just a roller coaster. I feel like he is Ron Burgundy and just entrapped in a glass case of emotion every time he plays. Man, what a guy. What a guy. But I think that's fantastic. That's a good bow on the week there. So moving on to the WGC match play this week. Top 64 players in the world outside of Live are playing this week. It should be a good week. They switched the format, so it's not a 64 bracket like it has been in the past, like that famous event when Tiger went against Stephen Ames, and Tiger just made Stephen Ames his bitch the whole round. He just really did. Saying anybody's beatable on a different day. Everybody knows what happened, so I'm not going to relive it. But I mean, that was Tiger in his prime. You know what you're going to do. So, but they changed it to pool play now, so it's really kind of hard for us to give you previews, I think, of specific matches because it really depends on who's coming out of that group pool play. But I think it's worth mentioning it's in Austin Country Club. This is the last year it's going to be at Austin Country Club. So even though the WGC, it's mixed, it's never really found a true home. I don't think it was played in California for a bit. Then when Dell became the title sponsor, moved to Austin. I personally think ACC, Austin Country Club, has been a fantastic venue, very scenic, iconic. I think even holes, it's either 16 or 17. It's the par three. It's like 120 yards. I think holes like that prove that you don't have to have a 240-yard bomber every single time to make things interesting. But courses like that are good for match play because it handles crowds well, but not like full PGA Tour galleries. That makes sense because of the limited field. So it's been a good venue. I'm sad to see it leave Austin, but overall, I think it was been a big success, and I hope Dell views it that way too. But we'll see what happens here in the next few years with the match play if it continues.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they said even the match play isn't even on the board for next year. So I think a lot of things can happen to it. Uh, One storyline or a few storylines I'm interested in for this tournament is I want to say JT has backed out of the tournament to kind of I think focus on his game. And I don't think he really likes the course or um is kind of having some putting struggle. So I know he's not playing this week. And another thing I saw was Ricky, Richard Fowler, who we used to talk about, starting to trend in the right direction. And he's 59th in the world rankings right now. So he's definitely climbed himself out of the hole. He's approaching that top 50 to get into the Masters. And that got me interested in rooting for the guy. And of course, he's in the same pool first match against John Rahm. So that's a tough break for Ricky, but I think this tournament's awesome. Again, it kind of sucks that the weekend's not the best because there's only 8 to 4 golfers or so, but
Right.
it's a great event. I think they need to keep it. And yeah, Austin Country Club's been an awesome venue. Holes on the water, a lot of risk reward stuff there. So big fan of that tournament. Kind of sad to see it go.
Definitely. I couldn't have said it better either, Thomas. So it's great insight. It should be a fun week, as you mentioned. I hope the cream of the crop rises to the top and see the weekend. We want to see those big names, but even guys like Kevin Kisner has made it to the
Yep.
finals, and that was before Kiz has become an urban legend, really amongst golf fans. So we'll see what happens. I think it'll be a good week. A lot of guys view this as a good tune-up to make sure that their game is trending in the right direction because all eyes point to Augusta National. So I think that's a pretty good preview for the week. Thomas, are you ready to move? Or that's it.
How about
One thing before we move on, or maybe it's transition. The PGA Tour changed their schedule up or added all these elevated events, non-elevated events. They made all these announcements at the Players Championship. We haven't really talked about it yet because I don't know if either one of us are knowledgeable enough to talk about it. We'll save that for next week. There's just with March Madness going on, as I mentioned, we saw each other at HEB, the check HEB. It's there's a lot going on, so maybe we'll be able to really kind of give a true insight of what's going on. But
yeah,
we'll probably save that for next week because a
yeah,
lot of changes, a lot of moving pieces. Chessboard is constantly moving.
for sure. And to kind of transition here, we'll be honest with the listenership. We're on a tight schedule today. So I think at this point, if I may, I've got a lot of golf gossip, but I think we do a
Yes.
rapid fire golf gossip, then jump into the top five.
Okay. So
What
I'll
do you
go
think?
first with golf gossip because I know you got a
Yep.
lot here. Well, Paul Tesori is leaving Webb Simpson
Yes.
for the caddy. Was that your run? Okay, that was the only thing I got because I know you got a few other topics. So
That
sad to
was on
see
the
Paul Tesori go.
yep. Past guest, go check out that episode. But he's got a pretty solid jump that he's going to with Cam Smith Cam Young, uh,
Woo! Easy.
who I think's top 5 in the world. So it looked like it was a mutual split.
Really?
So good to see Paul get a good player to be on the bag for, and I think it's always good when the relationship ends on mutual terms. So we got that. Some local Houston golf gossip.
Cameron
So
Young. Cameron Young is ranked 16 or 17 in the world at the moment.
okay, cool. So I was spot on there.
But he's definitely one of those young up and guys
Could be it.
where he could
You know
be. He's
what?
every bit as talented.
I think I saw the ticker and just saw Cameron
Oh yeah.
and forgot about Cam Smith.
Classic mix
We
up.
talked about him. Yep.
Yeah,
We
yeah. Friend
talked
of the
about him
pod,
last
Paul
week.
Tesori. We wish you the best. He's a great guest. You want to go back and listen to that episode as T-Bone mentioned, but definitely worth mentioning. Great to see them in on good terms, as you said. I mean, both two really one of the better guys out on tour.
Oh yeah, for sure. So to transition some local Houston golf gossip. So last night was looking at the weekend ahead with some Sunday scaries and booked a morning tee time at Herman Park. Woke up later today, was hanging out at work and had a friend send me a link to a dead body found in the pond of Herman Park Golf Course. I'm thinking about the course. I saw like just a snapshot picture. I think it was number 8. So that's concerning. I I don't think there's a lot of details out right now, but I think it was a missing person who was missing a few days ago, and they found them early yesterday morning or this morning. So that's always a tough scene. Don't know any of the details. Prayers to the family there, but it was something I had to cover because unfortunately that's a course I play a lot. So we got that. Back to live golf. Um, this was something I didn't see
Sorry, I was
anywhere
on
on
mute.
social.
That's really funny, dude. That's a course I play a lot.
Yeah, and there's a few other things that have happened out there. Some of them are are I don't need it's I can't believe I'm saying this, but I don't know if they're appropriate to share on this
Maybe save
podcast.
it. Maybe save it.
If those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So we
If you know,
got
you
that.
know.
Yeah. On top of that, I saw a clip that the live tournament this week on the live stream, they were showing a guy tee off, and it shows Sergio Garcia walking next to the tee box and taking a piss in the bushes on the live telecast. It was just in the shot, so that was pretty awesome. You don't see that every day on the PGA Tour, so maybe that's one way that Live can get more golfers. Show them the common golfer, bathroom strategy there. So,
Definitely.
uh, so I got that, and then to wrap this all up, something we're probably gonna have to dedicate a full episode to is last week they announced the potential golf ball change in 2026. That's probably a full episode that at least, and it's going to be continued to be talked about for the years leading up to it. But a lot of discussions are around limiting the distance and changing the golf balls for professionals. So there's been a lot of back and forth. A lot of people I don't think are for it. I think there is some argument to it, but that's ruffled some feathers. So that's the golf gossip quick list right there. But yeah, I know you're chomping at the bit to give a comment on the golf ball. Looks like.
I think to your point, T-Bone, we really got to give it its proper due. Now is not. I'll give you my 30,000 foot view, and I tweeted this out. The problem is that the USGA was asleep at the wheel 20 years ago when they should have done something about this. What was it like 4 years ago? 4 years ago, they came out with this report saying, "Oh yeah, they're like technology has helped the golf ball. Like the sky is blue. Are you kidding me? Like thanks for waking up." And then they come out with this, and I've seen arguments for both sides, and we'll dive into it again at a different point. But point is that the USGA, who sucks, sorry, not a fan. They're my close personal friends, USGA, right? No, they stink. They they do everything wrong, man. Like this is a great example of how they just got it wrong. And there's a clip of JT out there, and I really think he said it best. And there's a clip of Riggs too from Barstool talking about it, how it's cool that we get to play the same equipment as the players. Granted, there's a little bit more tweaked and whatnot, but it's virtually the same thing. I can go play the same golf course. That brings in a whole different discussion of shortening and lengthening golf courses, because that's why they're doing this. Courses like, I don't know, Cypress Point and all these other famous old golf courses are going to be left behind because of equipment. Marion, I think, is a good example. I think they're actually hosting a U.S. Open, but it took a while to get Marion ready to host a U.S. Open once again, which is ironically one of the most famous pictures of golf was when Ben Hogan was hitting that 1 iron. I believe that was at Marion. So uh, there's an argument to be made to preserve the history of the game. We don't want these old, amazing courses to go by the wayside, but cat's out of the bag. Genie's out of the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, whatever phrase you want to use. We're here already. So that's all I got to say about that. I think the USGA, they're like the NCAA in basketball, man. They just can't get anything right.
Yeah, it's not fun. I think one argument I saw is that hitting a driver and swing speed and all of that has almost become too easy for pros. And like you said, kind of taking away from traditional aspects of the game of being able to, hit the ball more solid, not just gain speed. And one thing I saw was Cameron Tringali had a direct correlation between his basically his career and his swing speed. And he was a mediocre player for 15 years, took the check recently to go to live, but he was really trending up the leaderboard and his performance was directly tied to swing speed. So there's a lot to it. I think another thing though is like no one wants this. I don't think other than these old courses, fans, golfers, manufacturers, they don't want to change. So, and I think another thing, I want to say this is something that JT has said that the length of the course doesn't really matter. It's how firm and fast it is. That's how US
Right.
Opens are tough. So again, you go back to the Bryson US Open where he was just bombing it and hitting wedges into the US Open greens. So there's a lot. It's complicated. I'm not a fan. It's a bummer. We'll see what happens. I think there's a lot of different things we can that are going to come out in the next few years. So we'll see what happens. But uh, it's gonna be dicey.
I think there's more things that can go wrong at this
Yeah,
point. When you try to roll things back, there's the law of unintended consequences. And there's going to be unintended consequences that nobody can foresee. So that's why
yeah,
that's one of the reasons why too. I think it's just a huge mistake. But we'll really break it down. Maybe we'll do a devil's advocate, Timo, and we can do a little debate on who's doing what and let us know in the comments what you think.
yeah. Oh, that'd be good.
All right, T-Bone, let's transition to top five here. So
Yep.
let's preface here. I think part of our redemption, if you will, for not including U of H on our top five golf list, we have decided to review or to give our top five private golf courses in the city of Houston. Houston heavy episode. That's why we're here coming to you from Houston, Texas. T-Bone and I, native Houstonian. So we've been fortunate to play a number of these courses, but we're going to include courses we haven't necessarily played. So it's going to be just top courses in the city of Houston. T-Bone, before we get going, are we doing strictly golf or are we doing also all the amenities that go with it?
I think that's part of the beauty of the list. You gotta decide, do you want to forfeit golf or facilities? And I think I also want to preface Houston area.
Yes. Yes. Big difference there. Greater Houston
Houston
area is
area.
huge
And I
because
think
there's not
to
enough private courses between the two of us just in
yeah,
Houston.
yeah. And we were trying to come up with this list, and I think first off, this is a list that at least I'm passionate about because I would love to join one of these clubs one day. Like as you heard earlier, I spend more time than I'd like at golf courses where bodies are thrown into the ponds. So um, I would like to graduate one day. So I had a lot of thought into this list. So this is what I'm excited about. And yeah, Houston Pride. Let's kick it off. I think I went first last time.
Let's go Cougs.
Yeah.
They're actually in the Sweet 16. Yes, you went first last time, so it is my turn to go first, T-Bone. And here, I think I'm going to steal one from you. I'm going to go Lochinvar. Lochinvar number one. I know it's a course that you adore or admire greatly. It's one of those I've yet to play. So anybody who knows somebody, looking at you, Thomas, hook me up. I'm just looking at you, Tolson. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I mean, Lochinvar, number one. What can you say about it? It's one of the best. It's my opinion, the number one course in Houston. So number one goes Lochinvar.
Yeah. Great first pick. It's a special place. It's the most unique golf club, I might add, golf club that I've been a part of. But such a cool place. We'll try and get you on someday. I don't know if
I
I'm the guy to do it,
I
but
appreciate that.
great first pick. All right, I'm also gonna go with a course I've never played, but I think it's the OG country club in the Houston area, probably closest to the center of Houston. I'm gonna go River Oaks Country Club. I I've had the chance to go to like a breakfast fundraiser there and didn't get to see a lot, but I think it's just one of those clubs. It's the most prestigious. It feels like it's probably one of the oldest, probably the most wealthy, if I'm being honest. I mean, it is big shot, it's got everything. I don't
It's
know
got
as much
everything.
about the golf course, but it is the most got to be one of the most prestigious golf clubs, country clubs in Houston. So
You want to talk old oil money? River Oaks is your club. So I think that really kind of sums it up. That's all you need to know. Let's see. I think very worthy first round draft pick there, Thomas. So, all right, I went Lochinvar, ROCC. I might throw you a curveball here. This might be reaching a bit, but it is personally my favorite golf course in the city of Houston. I'm going to Shadowhawk. Shadowhawk is
nice.
number two. Yeah, man, that is it's a little older now, I would say. Probably open around 2000-ish, somewhere around there. But it's just phenomenal. It's on the outer parts of Houston, down in Richmond, but it's a phenomenal golf course. I played it a couple times and just love it. It's a good test of golf. That's one reason why I like it. So that's why Shadowhawk gets the nod for number two for me.
And correct me if I'm wrong. It used to be Shadowhawk and the Houstonian as two courses together, and now Shadowhawk was like the super exclusive, and you had the Houston that was also private or Houstonian. Now it's been changed to Shadowhawk and Blackhawk.
Yeah, so without boring, hopefully not boring people too much, but Shadowhawk was its own club. It was just right next door to the Houstonian. And so there is a
Yep.
new ownership group that came out and bought out the old Houstonian. Now it's called Blackhawk. It's Encinitas Golf, or it's called Escalante Golf. Bought it. They're the same golf organization that bought, I think, the Golf Club of Houston too, if I'm not mistaken. So they bought Houstonian, Golf Club of Houston, I think one other one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But so because it was right next to Shadowhawk, they named it Blackhawk. So Houstonian doesn't have ownership group on that golf course anymore, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So which I always thought was weird because Houstonian is like a club off Post Oak in the middle of Houston, but then
Yeah,
the golf club was way out in Richmond. It wasn't even close. So
yeah, that was odd, but
yeah.
yeah, great pick. I've played, I think, just 9 holes there, but it's pretty awesome. Definitely, the golf course is insane. So wasn't expecting that one.
There you
So
go.
I'll probably give you another wild card here that probably isn't on your radar. New to the game, a lot of hype. I'm gonna go Blue Jack.
Love it.
Blue Jack, Tiger built. I heard the facilities are amazing. It's like I want to say you have to own land in that area to now be a member. So that's gonna be a tough one for me to join. But
These are all going to be tough for us to join, Scatlin.
yeah, podcast. We need subscriptions, people. Let's go. But
Hook us up.
yeah, I've just seen pictures and the amenities and everything. It's got to be amazing. And yeah, the first two are ones that I haven't played yet, but I've heard a lot of good things. So yeah, I'll go Blue Jack as two.
Okay, I like it. So we got 9 minutes here, Scap. So to for my number three, man, I feel bad kind of picking these because a lot of great courses are going to slip a bit. I'm going the club at Houston Oaks. Houston Oaks is number three. Uh, Newer as well. They recently redid it. It hosts the Big 12 Matchplay Championship. It's out in Hockley, Texas. So, like, that is probably as far reaching as you can get for the greater Houston area. But I mean, that golf course is absolutely phenomenal. I played it once and it just everything was perfect. Everything absolutely perfect. So that's why I got to go Houston Oaks is number three for me.
And if you remember, I've never played it. I've heard the same thing, and I've heard it from our only PGA Tour player guest. Chris Stroud said Houston Oaks is the best golf course in Houston. So that's got to mean something.
There you go. Stand by it.
Yeah. All right. My number three, I've got to go Houston Country Club. I've only played it once. Again, I think it just being in the heart of basically Houston on the Bayou, super exclusive, also just the most classic family friendly country club. The pool, the tennis courts, big clubhouse, golf course. I don't know if they ever did this. I always heard rumors that they built a parking garage under the driving range. I don't know if that's true or not, but they do a lot of crazy stuff like that, I'm sure. And that place has always been pretty special.
Yeah, the problem is with ROCC and HCC, Harvey really jacked with them. Harvey really, because the Bayou goes along both those clubs, and like number 8 on the Houston Country Club, I heard literally like fell into the Bayou because of
Oh yeah,
the flood was so intense. So
yeah. And I've heard that renovate. So a lot of these big shot clubs, there's big time money thrown into renovations, and there's renovations are like dams and bayou and flooding, which
yeah,
sucks. But yeah, it's still got to be on the
absolutely.
list though.
So for my number 4, again, probably slip. I think this is a good value pick. I'm gonna go Champions. Champions Golf Club at number 4, hosting a lot of LPGA Tour major championships. The club of Jackie Burke. This, as the story goes, he got really pissed off at ROCC River Oaks, and so he made his own club. Him and Jimmy Demerit. So yeah, champions. Jackie Burke, oldest Masters champion, still alive. I can't confirm, he still goes to the club as often as he can at 95, 96 years old. So the guy's a legend. Champions, I got 36 holes out there. I've never played it, so that's one of my goals is to get out there. But that's why I think Champions. I think they come in at a good value pick at number 4.
It's a great pick. Never played it either, but that's one of those places that's a golf club. I know you've got to have a handicap, like a legit handicap to be a member there.
Yeah,
Big on, knowing the game. I
no
think you
tennis
gotta like
courts.
take your hat off. Yeah, take your hat off in the clubhouse, all that stuff. So super old school. I've heard good things. Definitely want to play that one.
Yep,
I think that's a good pick.
thank you.
All right, number 4. I'm pretty surprised this fell to 4. Got to be the best clubhouse in Houston by a long shot. New course coming, amazing facilities, Lakeside Country Club. It's incredible. The clubhouse is just so cool. And even when they had the older clubhouse and the older golf course, I loved this place. So spent a lot of time out there, and that's always been a great course. I hope it's even better. I can't imagine it's not, but yeah, again, one of those clubs impacted by Harvey, and I took advantage of it because it's freaking awesome now.
Yeah, it really is. As you mentioned, currently under redesign at the moment, blew the whole thing up. It should, if it stays on schedule, should be ready to rock by October, I believe. But yeah, if you weren't going to pick Lakeside, I was. I was debating between Champions or Lakeside for number 4. I went with Champions mostly because it's 36 holes as well. But I mean, the fact that you're getting Lakeside here at number 4 is a great pick.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, kind of surprised that that fell to number 4 as well. But I mean, there are a lot of really good courses here in the city of Houston. So for my last pick, I really want to go with one of the smaller clubs, and I'm obviously biased towards one. I'm not going to pick them though, T-Bone. You know who I would pick. Maybe I'll give them the
Yeah.
honorable mention. I'm going to go Carlton Woods
Oh,
from
oh man, what a pick. What a
for my
pick.
number 5. I mean, the fact that Carlton Woods is sitting here at number 5 is outrageous, right? I mean, it's one of the premier clubs in the Houston. It's up in the Woodlands, 36 holes as well. I mean, Carlton Woods, I don't know what more you can say about how nice it is, but it's up there with all the clubs we mentioned earlier. It's just, look, we got to make decisions. And the fact that it's sitting in my lap here at number 5, I'm going to take it and run for my last pick.
That's a good pick. I didn't think of that one at all, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
But there's some sneaky clubs up there in the Woodlands that you don't really think about it when you don't if you don't really think about it. But Carlton Woods has definitely got to be the best one in the Woodlands, and again, most exclusive, nicest course, all that good stuff. So,
Yep.
all right, I I I have to go opposite of you. I've got to do the personal pick. Course I grew up, Got a lot of the listenership support out there, out at this club. Got to go Pine Forest to take us home. 27 holes. They've got Scooter, the best in the business. Um, love the place. Grew up on it. I haven't played there in years, which is kind of sad. But I heard they're redoing the course each nine at a time. Again, another perk, 27 holes. So get to see the airplanes come in, all that good stuff. So that one's special. I think it would be just so wrong if I didn't pick them. So
Yep.
um yeah, have to wrap up with Pine Forest. But going through this list and thinking about clubs, that it is crazy. I've got like 10 to 15 more that are just incredible golf courses that I left off the list. So the
Yeah.
honorable mention is wild here.
All right, let's do
Bra-
some honorable mentions. Who you got?
Brayburn killed me not to put on the list. Brayburn's
Yep.
awesome, old school, recently redone. Royal Oaks, Westwood, Riverbend. Um,
Sugar Creek.
oh shit, sorry, Sugar Creek.
Sugar Creek, man. Come on, show me some love.
Yeah, Sugar Creek's again. The 27 holes is a game changer. Northgate, Falcon
Northgate,
Head.
Sweetwater,
Yep.
out in Sugarland. Even if you want to throw in the Woodland, how about the Woodlands Country Club, man? They have
Yeah.
like four golf courses. If you want to throw in Kingwood as well, Kingwood's got like
Yep.
4 or 5 golf courses.
Yep.
There's a ton of really good. I mean, how about the Golf Club of Houston? They
Yep.
that hosted the PGA Tour stop here before they opened up the tournament course. That's a great private course too.
Yeah. No, there's a ton. There's a ton. This was tough. I was kind of thinking we weren't going to be able to get there, but we got there with five solid ones. So
I
that
think
was
we
a fun
got
one.
there easily.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Man, how about that? Yeah, Brayburn, all the ones that you mentioned. Part of me like wants to show love to Falcon Point. I just don't know if I can do it. Sorry, Preston and Trey, but it's too much water. That course is 17 out of 18 holes has water on it. That's just crazy town. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, good list. I think hopefully the Instagram numbers will reflect accordingly. I think this should be split pretty 50-50.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, but what are you going to do?
We'll find out. We'll find out. Well, I think that about wraps it up, T-Bone. Again, great list. Proud of it. Good week for everybody here, I'd say. I'm feeling pretty solid about this episode. Match play this week. Hopefully everybody's brackets aren't too busted, but they probably are. But T-Bone, I think that's all I got. Is there any final words that you have for the good listeners out there?
No, I think the one thing about today's episode is you called me Thomas a little more than T-Bone than I would like. So let's stick to T-Bone moving forward because I don't want people to know who I am. But no, I think
Sorry.
no, I'm kidding. Now
That's
the
fair.
top
That's
five
fair.
the top five I I loved the top five today because I think we both want to be members at a badass club one day, but hopefully we didn't miss as bad as we did last week. And but we like to be held accountable. So as always, let us know if we missed anything. Let us know about top fives you'd want to hear in the future, and we'll keep delivering.
Love it. Let us know in the comments below or send us an email or just shoot us a text because we know a lot of y'all personally here. And so we appreciate y'all tuning in every single week. It's going to be a good week at the match play. Again, really excited. And man, I don't know about you, but I just got a gust on the mind, especially seeing all these Masters commercials during March Madness. I mean, I pause what I'm doing every single time and turn the volume up so I can listen.
I think Jim Nance was like quoted in a tweet, and it was watching March Madness and seeing Masters commercials proves you can have fun as an adult. And I was
Mm,
like, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's the best time of the year. Keep saying it, but it's coming closer to Augusta, daylight savings, March Madness. I can't talk about it enough.
what a time to be alive. Also, for all the baseball fans out there, World Baseball Classic, USA. By the time this drops, USA will be playing in the championship tonight. USA. I don't know it's either going to be against Mexico or Japan. So we'll see how that plays out.
I'm just, I don't know. I'm just sad about Altuve, but
Yeah,
we'll save that
it's
for our baseball podcast.
yeah, which we'll be launching TBD. Anyway, all right, let's land this plane. Before we get out of here, give us a follow on social media at 300 par pod. That is the number 300 par pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe, give us a 5-star review. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, because once we hit 1,000 subs, T-Bone, that's how we can join one of these clubs one day, right?
Love it. Yeah.
Goals. Anyway,
Mike,
we appreciate
yeah.
y'all again. Yeah,
Oh, go
what?
ahead. I was gonna say, yeah, 1,000. No, I don't know where I was going with that. I was gonna say something along the lines of, yeah, maybe I can get an extra large bucket at Herman Park now instead of mediums. But
Yeah.
um,
Well, look, I know how much YouTube pays, especially at first. It ain't much. So then, yeah, we're just going for the upgrades. We're going for
love
the
it.
upgrades from medium to a large bucket. Honestly, I'm probably going to stay at the medium bucket. My hands can't handle that, or my back can't handle that many swings. That's why I
No,
don't
I
warm
hate
up
hitting
before
off a
golf
mat.
anymore.
Yeah, nah, I don't like hitting off of mats either.
I don't hate it though, but the double decker driving range is pretty solid.
Not bad, not bad.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm Scott for T-Bone, and remember,
Little white balls life.